It's called blockchain. You wouldn't get it.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Bitcoin still hanging around the same boring levels that we have been. Now, interestingly enough, over on futures, we actually did hit a new all-time high for Bitcoin. We actually got up to about $62,000. But as far as everything that is going on right now on spot exchanges, we are still consolidating. We are at the absolute end of this move. It is do or die time. We need to have either the breakout or the breakdown for Bitcoin. But why are some people actually getting bearish right now? Is this not actually healthy accumulation? Well, I do want to talk about that because we are looking for one of the biggest moves that we have seen in Bitcoin for quite a while. I know you've been really bored, but trust me, this next move is going to be insane. And I do want to discuss what is really happening right now in the background. Are the institutions accumulating, or is that just a story that people are telling each other to feel better for the fact that the price isn't moving? Well, we're going to actually dive into that, and I want to talk about something really interesting, which is although we do have these sort of levels for the Bitcoin price this cycle, you hear 100,000, 250, 288. I want to discuss why we could actually have a $1 million Bitcoin by the end of this year. And I know that sounds absolutely insane, ridiculous, but stick with me, and I want to show you something very interesting today. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, well, definitely consider it. And without further ado, we're going to get straight into the chart. So you can see right here, same exact chart we've been looking at, my friends. I mean, we are just consolidating, getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, coiling up like a spring ready to explode. Now, my bet is on the fact that we do break to the upside. However, everyone is calling for a breakout to the upside. So if everyone thinks we're going to go up, are we actually going to go up? Will it be a self-fulfilling prophecy, or are we actually going to have another shakeout, fake out before the breakout? Well, in all reality, if we do look at the chart over on CME Futures, which is actually a very, very important chart to keep your eyes on, you do notice that there is a lot of room for us to come back down here to the bottom, right, of this ascending wedge. So we could have that fake out potentially back down to about that $56,000 level. Do I think it's going to happen? It's possible, but this is a very typical strategy of whales in markets. What they do is they drag the asset out. They bore you to death, right? I mean, who is excited about Bitcoin right now? The price has been bouncing around the same levels for almost 40 days. But is the accumulation truly happening in the background? Well, we'll talk about that in just a second. But you can see right here on the 4-hour, we actually have broken out of this pattern, and it does look like we have retested the previous resistance as support, right? Right here. You could see we actually came down and we've bounced back off it again. So that is something good to note on the shorter term time frames. However, when we are looking at the heart line, right, which is this center line right here, you can notice we spend time under it, then we go below it. You can see again, it's resistance, support, right? And it's acting as resistance again. But what I want to mention though, is if we look back here, when we were consolidating before the big breakout, when we were around 46 and we went to the $58,000 level, look how long we were actually consolidating for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on the 9th day, we had the breakout, okay? And you can see we did have a substantial breakout on that day where Bitcoin broke out from 49,000 all the way up to 59,000, almost a $10,000 move for Bitcoin. And you can see right here, how long have we been consolidating under here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 days now. So if you think that this move was huge back here, we are looking for that massive, massive breakout. And another reason why I think that we're absolutely due for this huge move is because of this, these small, the Bollinger Bands are just getting so tight. And you could see the last time we had these tight of bands, we had massive breakouts, and having a look right here, you would be looking for some crazy move, up to these levels. And this could be that huge leg that finally takes Bitcoin up to that $100,000 level. Now, for all my bears out there, is there a possibility of a giant double bottom? Sure. Okay. It's possible, that right here, we come down, to this level right here and put in our double bottom. And we could see Bitcoin maybe go back down to 50,000, fake everybody out. But either way, guys, as I've been saying, the trend is your friend. And we need to look at the fundamentals, step back, have a look at the picture, okay? On its way up, Bitcoin's market cap surpassed many notable names, okay? It's bigger than Netflix, Walmart, Samsung, Alibaba, Berkshire Hathaway, Tesla, Facebook, and just now, at a $1.1 trillion market cap, it is higher than Visa and MasterCard combined, as well as bigger than JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo combined. Bitcoin is clearly an unstoppable force, and as far as whether or not these guys are actually accumulating, well, you could see right here, like Lex pointed out, 12,638 Bitcoin left Coinbase yesterday, right here in 10 minutes. These are coins most likely being moved to cold storage or potentially to custody solutions, but they are getting taken off the exchanges. And history has shown us that during these potentially boring times, right, you're just sitting back waiting for moves to happen, you're seeing it move into cold storage, into strong hands, looking to accumulate. And let me just explain something to you guys. An asset, first of all, doesn't give you 40 days to sell the top, okay? We've been sitting up at these levels for almost 40 days now, 35 or 36 days. I lost count, okay? If this was the top, the markets are not that forgiving. They're not that generous, okay? You're not going to get 40 days to sell the top. Most of these tops fell within 10% within a week, okay? This is accumulation. So, and you know, why would, just think about it logically, why would, you know, we have whales accumulating at these high levels just to sell? I mean, you would literally be selling for a loss, right? You'd be accumulating and then just selling at the exact same levels you bought it at. It makes absolutely no sense unless there's just, you know, a quick little fake out before the breakout, right? That's the only thing I could see right now. And more bullish news, right? We know that there's lots of ETFs. Well, guess who is now filing for an ETF? That's right, guys. Mike Novogratz's Galaxy Digital has filed with the US SEC to launch a Bitcoin exchange traded fund. Now, obviously, they have to get approved, right? It's not like, oh, we're going to have an ETF right now, but if approved, it will trade on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA. The value of the shares will be based on Bloomberg Galaxy Bitcoin Index. That includes several pricing sources. And if you don't believe me, you can see the official filing right here. This is the actual documentation that was filed over at the SEC. But in an interview with Dr. Julian Haas, we had former Goldman Sachs manager Raul Pal saying that from his perspective, Bitcoin's current bull cycle looks a lot like 2013, but it is ahead of the 2017 cycle in terms of gains. And he actually brought a pretty good point up, right? A lot of people, including myself even, you know, have spoke about these $100,000, $250,000 levels. And you hear a lot of people saying, you know, when Bitcoin hits 100,000, that's when I'm taking some chips off the table. I'm selling some Bitcoin. That's enough for me. 250 to 288 plan B stock to flow. You hear a lot of people like, okay, that's the cycle top. So there's so many people looking to all sell Bitcoin at the exact same levels. And we know that if everyone thinks it's going to happen, it usually doesn't happen. So what does this mean? Does this mean we're only going to go up to $90,000? That's it? Well, what if on the flip side, the market actually overshoots, goes way higher, past the $400,000 level? He talks about, you know, the overbought region where Bitcoin could hit walls and correct around 400. But he says that if this level gets broken like it did the last two cycles, Bitcoin could potentially hit $1 million this cycle, and it could even happen this year. But don't listen to me. I just want to play this clip from this interview and just check out sort of the logic behind how he thinks this could happen.
How do you see the current Bitcoin cycle? Sorry, I was just curious because like yeah, so one is the Bitcoin kind of focus, which is so bullish, and so bonds are like, yeah, the total different, opposite. Walk me through, how do you see the cycle? Obviously, a lot of people talk about 2021 being the super hype year, and then 2022 being the minus 70% crash. And then a couple of my friends, and I include myself here, I believe that the first crash of Bitcoin in 2013, 2014 was because of Mt. Gox. And 2017 was because ICOs just bubbled this entire thing up, and then it just had to come down. So my thesis is, if in 2021 we don't see this major hype driver, we're going to see maybe minus 30, minus 35% setbacks, but not this minus 70, minus 80% setback. How do you see this? What's
Yeah,
your
I've been
thoughts on this?
thinking. I've been thinking through the same thing. What's interesting is the seasonal cycle of Bitcoin is pretty clear. So it goes up early Jan, then corrects, then goes up in Feb, corrects in March, April. And we're kind of seeing that exactly play out now. And then it explodes into June. I think it gets to 100,000. And then it corrects sideways. Sideways in Bitcoin terms is like down 30%, but for an extended period of time until, let's say, September, October, maybe a little bit earlier, and then explodes into the end of the year. What's interesting is this cycle also looks pretty much like the 2013 cycle. It's pretty close. It's actually pretty close. It's diverging a bit from the 2017 cycle because it's actually ahead of it in terms of price movement. So that's how I see the rest of this year playing out. Next year, I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of thinking that we won't have a big collapse because of the new participants. Mm-hmm. So what happened last time around, it was all retail, and retail had made a lot of money. And so they wanted to convert back to fiat to buy things. And the more it went down, the more they thought, oh shit, I want to buy that car I was going to buy, and stuff like that. But with more institutional adoption, I think the volatility comes down over time. And maybe it just sideways corrects like gold did for the last few years, where it traded down 30%, but over 18 months. So it's just boring. And you bore people out of the trade, and some people accumulate over that period. I think that's probably the most likely. I think there's also a outside chance that, we all look at plan B stock to flow, and I use a number of different ways of getting a price projection. I use a regression analysis on the log chart. That gives me, for it to get to kind of one standard deviation overbought, it's about 400,000. But if it gets to 2 standard deviations, where it got to the last 2 times, it's 1 million. I think there is a risk that we all think, and I see Plan B asking this question a lot on Twitter, where do you think it tops out? Mm-hmm. The skew is to the low side. The skew is around the 150,000 to 200,000. Mm-hmm.
200,000, I agree, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's 288,000 number. People are really not sure on.
Yeah.
And anything higher, they're like, no chance, the lowest probability of all. And I'm like, I kind of like those odds. I kind of feel that we could have that shocking moment where a lot of people sell out at between 150 and 250 for these reasons. We've all kind of seen that, and we all think that could be the case, and we could overshoot.
Let me know what you guys think. $1 million Bitcoin, it seems crazy, but let's be honest. All of these Bitcoin highs seemed crazy. When Bitcoin was $8, nobody thought it would hit 500. Then it hit 1,000. Nobody thought it would hit 10. Then it did. Then it went to 20. And when it hit 20, people said it could never, hit, these levels that we're at now. And I mean, we're literally at a $60,000 Bitcoin, basically. So in another pro-Bitcoin move, MicroStrategy says they will now pay their employee directors in Bitcoin other than cash. Going further, the filing reads that in approving Bitcoin as a form of compensation for board service, the board cited its commitment to Bitcoin, giving its ability to serve as a store of value, supported by a robust and public open source architecture, untethered to sovereign monetary policy. With this move, the company cements its already bullish stance on Bitcoin and highlights its strong belief in the primary cryptocurrency, and they are on their way to owning about 100,000 Bitcoin. So this is pretty incredible. This is a bit of a breakthrough right here, and maybe more people will follow in MicroStrategy's footsteps. Now, let's talk about another reason why we got this BNB going absolutely crazy. Well, number one, people are tired of the Ethereum gas fees. They're moving over to Binance Chain. They're using things like Pancake Swap, right, which has like literally pennies in fees as compared to, these high $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 fees. But also another thing to note is the fact that they say that now they have partnered with German-based investment firm and Switzerland Digital Assets, and Binance is going to introduce zero commission tradable stock tokens. Just another another thing that they're offering, which is really crazy. So now you'll be able to actually have sort of stock exposure, essentially. So each new coin will represent one share of equity stock and will be fully backed by a depository portfolio of underlying securities. The first that they're offering is Tesla. Kind of makes sense, right? Tesla bought Bitcoin. It's pretty exciting for crypto, so makes sense they'd start with Tesla. So they say being fully backed by a depository portfolio of underlying securities representing the outstanding asset, the Binance stock tokens will enable holders to qualify for economic returns of the underlying shares, which includes dividends. This option would lower expenses for investors and will enable them a greater financial participation. Nevertheless, the stock tokens are not shares, but they will entitle the holders to gain exposure to the underlying asset. Unlike traditional equities, though, Binance's new product can be fractionalized, allowing users to access the particular share in a more affordable unit. So rather than having to buy the entire stock, you can now buy portions of a stock, kind of like you can buy fractions of a token, fractions of a Bitcoin, things like that, right? Also, we are noticing that although we did have Topps attempt to launch their crypto collectibles back in 2018, NFTs hadn't really caught on yet. And now that we are in the NFT boom, Topps and MLB are going to launch a 2021 baseball card NFT series, this time on the Wax blockchain. These are the first NFT cards that the MLB has officially signed off on. So that is the news for that. Also want to just give you some quick altcoin updates. We finally have a date for the JigStack IDO. It is April 22nd. They say we are proud to announce the Stack IDO on our first product, Lemonade. So guys, remember, Lemonade doesn't have a token. Lemonade is the token launch platform, but their first token is going to be Stack from JigStack, whose first product is Lemonade. Okay, you guys understand that? So check that out. Definitely pretty excited about this one. And also wanted to give you an update on a project I've been looking at. Now, this is from Oro Pocket, and this is Unifarm. Now, what caught my attention, obviously, was that they had raised $2 million from AU21 Capital, NGC Capital, and of course, our good old buddies, Morningstar Ventures. So I definitely was interested in this one, and you can see what they're doing is offering a one-of-a-kind staking solution where the best projects in DeFi space will come together to provide value to investors. The platform allows you to stake one token but earn multiple high-value tokens. So this is an interesting concept. In addition to just getting great APY for staking whatever token you're interested in, your returns are automatically diversified as well. So it's an interesting concept. You not only get APY returns for the token that you're staking, but you also get other tokens as well. So it's a really cool concept. Definitely looking forward to Unifarm, but that is it for me today, guys. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. I am waiting for this breakout. We are waiting for it. It has been boring. Like I said, we could have one more fake out before the breakout, but guys, I'm not a Bitcoin bear. I do believe that once this thing gets moving in the upwards direction, we're going to see a $10,000 candle. I mean, we're going to be, I mean, easily we're going up to $70,000. Obviously I have my first take profits at around the, right here, right around this $65,879 level. So, if you guys are leverage trading, you do have a long in there, this is exactly where I would be looking to sort of close out or at least take partial profits. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, make sure that you guys check out my tutorial on Bybit. I do have an extra $200 in bonuses on top of the $600 that they give you just for joining. If you're interested, check the links below in the description. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I do have a tutorial popping up above. But remember, this is not for beginners. If you are looking to trade as a beginner, use the paper trading account, get used to it before you start, gambling away the house, or just hodl. That's always been a surefire solution for Bitcoin, right? So thank you so much for coming back. If you guys have not seen these videos popping up right here, right now, check them out. And until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.